Instant ramen is a delicious comfort food, but nobody ever called it nutritious.
Here's how to elevate basic ramen into a more complete meal. First, let's boil some noodles. Bloop, bloop, into the hot tub. Don't overcook your noodles. Ramen should have a little bit of chew. Drain these. Add those to our bowl, because the rest is going to come together so quick.
I stashed these steaks in the freezer for about 15 minutes just to get them firm.
This makes cutting thin slices easier. Salt, pepper, baking soda to tenderize, cornstarch to seal in juices. Mix this all up so it's evenly coated. Just need a little touch of oil in the bottom. Now we can saute our beef. And I'm using the same pot I cooked those noodles in. Once that beef is no longer pink, I can add it to my noodles. This looks so good already. For the rest of this recipe, I'm gonna add in bell pepper and onion. Saute that for 30 seconds. Now I can add my water. While this comes up to a boil, let's season it. We're not gonna use the whole flavor packet, just a little bit. We're gonna enhance our soup broth with our own flavors, like soy sauce. And my secret is mushroom powder, which adds a depth of flavor without adding salt. Give it a little taste to make sure your seasonings are on point. So good. This is boiling, now it's time to add my broccoli and mushrooms.
Look at all these wholesome ingredients, and we even have our green veggies.
Final assembly for our beef and broccoli noodles. Just ladle this over the top.
Top that with a little sesame oil and some green onion.
Now that's a perfect cozy meal.
If you're looking for something hearty for dinner, nothing beats a casserole.
We're using frozen foods to make a hot dish.
Our casserole is gonna start with a layer of taters.
One layer to cover the bottom. Instead of browning ground meat, my secret shortcut is these mini meatballs. Everything needs to be arranged in one layer.
Add your favorite frozen vegetables. Now it's time to sauce this.
Of course, you could use canned cream of mushroom, but I'm a little extra, so I'm making my own. Some heavy cream. A little touch of beef broth. Fresh mushrooms are great, but I'm using dried. These last longer on the shelf, and they won't water down your sauce. Season with salt, pepper, and garlic. If you don't want dairy or mushrooms, you can use a tomato-based sauce instead. Make sure that's spread evenly around. Top that off with more taters. Now we're gonna cover it in foil. Now for the hot part of this dish. Once everything is cooked through, remove the foil so we can crisp up the top. Crispy top, I'm ready to dig in. After this meal, I'm gonna be ready to hibernate. You can't go wrong with tater tots. I could fill this with coffee, but on a cold evening like tonight, I think I'm craving hot chocolate. Of course, you could use that instant packet, but I'm gonna show you how to make the best hot chocolate ever from scratch. All of our ingredients are just gonna go into one saucepan. Start with milk, heavy cream. You can also substitute with dairy alternatives. Next up, chopped chocolate. Cocoa powder, bop! And here's a secret, all hot chocolate packets are cocoa powder and sugar. For this recipe, I'm adding brown sugar. And what's great is you can control the sweetness.
And a touch of vanilla.
And one last special ingredient, a pinch of salt. Nothing more, nothing less. Now to just get everything melted and combined over medium-low heat. That took no time at all. And of course, whipped cream, some marshmallows, and this is extra. Now it's time. That is incredible. That's so frickin' good. Toasty.
If you buy rotisserie chicken, put all of it to work, including those bones.
Here's how to make a nourishing homemade chicken soup. The key ingredient isn't the meat, it's actually the carcass. Homemade chicken broth is as simple as bones and water. But broth alone is a little basic, so we're gonna add some delicious aromatics. Carrots, celery, onion, garlic halves, and a bundle of fresh herbs. Tuck that right in there. Now just fill the pot with filtered cool water, just enough to cover everything. Just bring this to a low simmer. Once that's simmering, add a splash of apple cider vinegar. Just a capful will help pull that flavor from those bones. Let this go for at least an hour, but the longer you let it sit, the better the flavor. We really just need the liquid, so we're gonna ladle everything through a colander. I'm gonna cry, y'all. This is like one of my favorite things, just homemade chicken broth. You can season this with salt to taste, but you can use this for any recipe you like. For a cold evening like this, I'm gonna make some warming chicken soup. I have some olive oil in the same pot, and I'm gonna add garlic, celery, carrots, and onion. A little salt on our veggies, a few cracks of pepper. Saute until these soften slightly. And I didn't forget the homemade chicken broth. Once those veggies are cooked through, I'm gonna add some leftover rotisserie chicken meat. What a wonderful winter meal. When the temperatures drop, I go for my crock pot chili recipe to warm me up. Of course you could go pre-made, but I like to make my own. It's more comforting and satisfying. I'm starting with ground beef, but of course you can use any ground meat you like. For my recipe, I just dump it in, no need to cook it all before. You can use tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, but I like crushed tomatoes. And number 2, by combining the sauce with the uncooked meat, you'll get a lot finer texture. When it comes to chili, pretty much anything goes, so use whatever flavors you like. I'm using a lot of garlic, onions, celery, and peppers. All diced up right into the pot. So there's a debate, beans or no beans? This chili's getting beans, 2 types actually. Give those a quick rinse. And since these are canned beans, I'm actually gonna add them in later. Now we just need to add our spices, but I have a little trick to bring out the most flavor. In a dry skillet, I'm gonna toast my spices over some low heat just until you can smell their aromas. This step is optional, but it'll wake up those spices and enhance your chili. Adding in our spices. My chili is full of secrets, like a splash of beer to round out the flavors. Cheers. Now's the time to salt, pepper, and a bay leaf for good measure. I'm just gonna let this cook and give it a stir every once in a while. After the chili's cooked through, add the rinsed canned beans and let them cook for 30 minutes. My favorite thing about chili is the infinite topping options. Yep, I'm giving myself the blue ribbon. Thanks for watching Problem Solved. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out some of our other videos like these 2 right here.